Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. Been a little bit quiet lately, but that was mainly because I was preparing for the WTC, so the World Championships that were held in Germany, Melle, which were last weekend, and I felt like really, if you maybe have ever been part of the WTC circuit, you know that the information war is very much a thing that is real, and that people who know that they're going um, they will look out on each other's channels and see what they're thinking about. So I completely just focused on preparation and not really much else. But in this video, I would, just try to throw the lid off everything right now and just tell you what our considerations are, what we did as a team, what armies we have, what we were satisfied about, what we were not satisfied about, and give you a little bit of a look through of our super secret spreadsheet that we had to do our estimations and to show you how we did everything. So, to be clear, I'm the captain of the Dutch team. We ended in 8th place in total. We had 3 wins and 2 losses. I think we can be very satisfied about that result. I felt like we were a mid-tier team, so we basically came ahead a little bit of that. The Netherlands has a vibrant but small competitive old world community. So it was even a little bit of a challenge to get 8 serious people together, and I was expecting other countries to bring their absolute best, of course, and they did. So I'm really proud of the guys. I'm really proud of the group, and that I feel we more than kept ourselves standing in this international competition. Um, I'm very proud that we made it, and that even within the last round we were kind of live even for the podium. If we were very lucky, maybe the third place which could have been there, if like the perfect situation arisen. So just that all being said, I was very proud of the guys. Now onto our lists. What were our plans? What were we doing? I hope that in this video you have already a little bit of an idea of how the pairing system works. To give a very quick overview for those who are not in the know, WTC is a team championship and it's 8v8 games. And basically you need to take 8 different armies and in your armies, the captain basically does a pairing with the other team, and roughly that means that some armies are what we call defenders, and you want those to have a more to basically have draws against everything. So you can toss them out early so they don't lose too badly. And you have attacker lists who want to have some very strong wins against specific things, and you really try to get them into specific matchups. And they can also lose some matchups very big, of course. It's a little bit too much to go over here what the exact pairing system is. There are some great videos about that as well. I'd recommend if you want to sort of refresh on how it works. And I really want to take this time to get into the lists. So as a captain, I'll start with my own list. Maybe it's even better to sort of talk about sort of the very broad picture first. What we wanted to bring. We thought that Cafe was just by far the best army in the game, and that even with the WTC limitations of only 2 balloons and the cannons being nerfed, the -1 movement stacking didn't work. We still think Cafe is just the #1 army in the game. You should have a plan for them, and the plan should either be to just completely dodge them or just to or drop them basically. So accept a 1 or a 0, or to have some plan to actually deal with them. We chose to have an actual plan to deal with them because we thought it was possible to actually get something out of them. How did we think that? Well, we thought 2 other armies are very important in that, and those are Vampire Counts and Tomb Kings. Very strong armies on their own, also already great to basically to have as an to have in your lineup anyway. But I believe the Tomb King Mortuary Cult list, especially if you go full Ushabti with bows, which I did. I brought 16. I loved it. It should be a good matchup, I'd say. I think you can. They don't really kill you. You should kill some balloons. It should be a small win, which is great. So you got 1 counter already. I think the other list that's decent into Mortuary Cult is actually Vampire Counts. I think they're tough enough. I think you out-heal all the damage that they bring in. The Banshees, of course, can do some serious damage if it all goes well. So that all works pretty well. And we thought Beastmen are also actually pretty decent at killing them. Of course, elementalism, hacktree fetishes, stuff like that. Vile Tides works pretty well, and the Death Star I think is reasonable into Cafe. It's not great, but it's fine. Next to that, some other armies like also our Nuln army, which we really built to go first, should also have an okay matchup into Cafe. Basically, you hope to go first. They have more drops than you, but you have more drops than them, but at least you know where the balloons go, and then you deploy your shooting there. And then with Hans from Low and Hacker, you actually have still have the +1, so you both have +1 to go first. If they drop first, and say only has three drops, so generally they go first. They you hope to go first, and you hope to actually just shoot them in the face, shoot them very hard. The Outriders, even with their strength 4, can still do some decent output into Cafe. So we thought we had like some decent matchups into it with our own Cafe and especially Tomb Kings as sort of a pin into them to actually make it work. As for our other armies, we felt like we basically wanted to take things that counter Cafe. So, for example, the Mortuary Cult list or the Empire list, which we thought people would definitely take, and to a certain extent the Vampire Counts list as well, would be countered by heavy aggressive lists. So things like Bretonia, Wars of Chaos, to a certain extent High Elves, even though that pick for us was a little bit of a later transmission. We actually had a Dwarf player who wanted to come, but due to circumstances he wasn't able to come. So he, in the end, we brought a High Elf player, but I think it fit really well in our setup, actually. I think it didn't hurt at all, really. And I think that even though like armies like Vampire Counts, Tomb Kings, to a certain extent, Nuln had some decent tools into High Elves, basically full aggression is in the end what kills vampires. And other than that, like you think maybe their healing is infinite, but it actually kind of isn't. And if you put enough pressure somewhere, and especially just win the combat where their mages are in, or like catch their mages in some way, you can actually punch through. So that was sort of our broad strategy. And in that, Tomb King's Vampire Counts Cafe was armies that we definitely want to bring, and we basically filled it out with aggro lists, which are good attackers anyway into the field. So to go a little bit more specific, what are in our lists and what are the things we picked? Of course, can't say the most about my own list. I basically made it as my Mortuary Cult an attacker list, and I made it to be as stalling and annoying as possible while still being very good against Cafe. Brought 16 Ushabti with bows because they have great damage output, basically too good for what they bring, and I brought them with a lot of elementalism, basically to be sure of to get travel mystical pathways and to get Plague of Rust, because it's very necessary in some matchups, especially, for example, Bretonia. Good armor saves is something that stops the Ushabti great bow shots, but with Plague of Rust, you definitely just go through them. And kind of blanking on the name, the Earthen Ramparts is a very important spell against dragons in the meta. I don't think dragons were as important as you might think, but basically the idea is that when a dragon would charge you, you can still stand and shoot it, so hopefully you do some wounds. With the Earthen Ramparts, basically the rider and the guy on top only get one attack, and you get one stomp. You are close order, they are not. Maybe you have a rank even, and to basically have in that way just have more CR than them, have them bounce off you, shoot them again, kill them, basically stop stuff like that. Another combination with Urban Ramparts is actually the Necro Sphinx. So the idea is also to Urban Ramparts, have people charge you, just do minimal damage, and then if you have lined up a Necrosphinx in the flank, you just charge, and that gave some great problems for people. So the second mode of the list is that it can actually hunt. Like Travel Mystical Pathways, I have a lot of people. I actually got paired into both demon players in the event, which was great. I like smashed both of them. Both of them didn't know Ushabti had multiple wounds too, which was great. I don't know how that happened, but I was sure wasn't complaining about it. And they very quickly realized that if they ran their Greater Demons or Demon Princes at me, they were going to die horribly. So they hid behind terrain pieces. And normally with like only movement 5 with Shopti, like maybe you can ping off 1 or 2 shots, it's not great. But with the Necrosphinx and with TMP, Travel Mystical Pathways, you can just teleport forward, still get angles, still get where you need to be, still start scoring those points. So it really does multiple things in your list. When they are coming at you, you use it to put people in flanks, to teleport them just out of range, and when you sort of have the control because you killed your opponent, you can quickly get back on the board and hunt those last things that are hunting you. Found that the list had some issues against infantry, so that's why I took the 42 skeleton archers with the amulet of the serpent. To actually make sure you have something into, like, for example, the Bretonia Knights on Foot. They were kind of annoying, but with the Amulet of the Serpent, like, you're wounding them on twos, so you do a lot more damage than you might actually think. And with especially with Plague of Rust, you can actually really do a number on people and really destroy them. Tomb Scorpions are in there because you have to, also because they're great redirectors. They can hunt war machines. They're just great for the points. And the Casket of Souls is there as a utility piece to give +1 to cast, to get to the +4 to cast, and maybe to do some damage in specific matchups. For example, if you're against like low leadership things like Terrorgeist and they're outside of their leadership range, you can still like sort of have the damage. I feel like for 135, it's pretty good. 2 power scrolls are to make sure that, and the Lord Familiar are meant to make sure that the turn you really need your TMP, it's usually turn 2, you get it and you get to jump out of the way, or really need your Urban Ramparts. It's good into Cafe. Basically, the main thing I think it's bad at is Beastmen, because or like infantry Death Stars mainly, because you've got a lot of high quality shots in the Ushabti, especially like 1 wound guys. Like, for example, like the 30 Beastmen guys, like defending like the characters of Wargors in there. They just jump in front of you, you shoot at them, you kill like 5 gores, doesn't really matter. They smash into you, they actually have enough damage to completely clear you. This list can heal 11 wounds per turn on Ushabti. That won't be enough, and then you lose, and that's no fun. And I think it's good. I think it's the best like sort of anti-gunline in the game, because, well, I shoot very hard. You maybe shoot very hard, but my guys get back up. Yours don't, and then I win. It's kind of how it works against, like, for example, Nuln or dwarves. Dwarves is only kind of difficult if they have a lot of infantry, because of reasons I mentioned before. Ushabti just don't have a great great shots into them. But the more copters they have, the better, because Ushabti like shooting copters. They don't really like shooting rangers or something. I mean, yeah, sure, you don't get the -1 to hit against skirmishers, but it's just not really where you want to be. So that's my list. I will go over some results and some pairing matrices shortly. Then our Bretonians, Vincent. I'm gonna be a little bit more brief with the other lists. Also not 1000% sure, of course, what people thought about their list. If you have specific questions, do let me know in the comments, and I might ask members of the team to answer them. What Vincent was saying is that it was difficult for him, that he didn't really know if he wanted to be a defender, if he wanted to be an attacker, if he wanted to be anti-vampire counts, anti-monsters. He felt like the list wasn't really focused enough, so it didn't really do anything. He also found out that the Prophetess on a Royal Pegasus in the Pack Knight unit is kind of a non-bow, because the units want to march, but you often have like fireballs and stuff, and then she doesn't want to march because then you cannot fireball, but the Pegasus Knights have places to go, people to kill, so it all yeah, it wasn't great. He felt like he should have maybe. We expected less dragons at the event. Honestly, I think dragons are a little bit of the old meta. I think there are nastier things in the game, mainly Death Stars, undead stuff, and Cafe. Um, like Cafe is a field day against dragons because you charge me and you do a few wounds, I disengage and then I fly behind you and then I shoot you some more. So it's really not fun to play a dragon into Cafe because you just you just won't do any damage in the things that matters, and the balloons will actually kill you. Um, so he felt his list was not focused enough, and he felt like it was still a decent aggro list, but it needed to either be like hard on killing dragons, hard on killing infantry, hard on killing something, and the wizard setup was just kind of bad. So um, yeah, that's how we felt about it. Then our vampire accounts, we built our vampire accounts to be a strong defender. So we got the Mortis engine for the better casting, to get the screams as well going, of course. 2 big units of graveyards, some zombies, some fellbats for just maximum toughness, maximum raising, maximum annoying. We didn't, I think, experiment enough with like the ethereal stuff. I think the list the English, for example, brought with all the X-Wraith was really nice idea. We didn't really get into that. We mainly just saw Vampire Counts as a very strong defender and something that could deny Cafe some of their luster, because they kind of have to be afraid of the screams. They don't have a lot of magical attacks, so they can't really get rid of the banshees. As long as you can hide sort of your Mortis engine against all their cannon shots, should kind of be fine, because they can't really kill much and they can't really get close, and you scream at them and then it's sort of like a draw. And against Cafe, that's great. It's like a great result. So that was the plan. Well, of course it can do this against other stuff as well. So that felt kind of decently. The thing about vampire counts is, especially this setup with the Mortis engine, you actually have a kind of a bad matchup into Mortuary Cult, because, well, those who's up to you also shoot in the Mortis engine very well, can tell you that. And yeah, it was a decent list, but and I think it worked out fine for what it was. But I think we definitely sort of could have experimented more with the hack race stuff, make it a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more assertive, while not giving up much. I think that's very interesting direction. Then our Beastman list, must say that Marijn is really our Beastman expert, and he knows his list really well, can say a lot more about it than I can. I've played against it multiple times though. The idea is that it has just a very tough left star, which comes at you. Has a lot of Hectory fetches. Joseph Dark Rain is also really important to stop a lot of shooting matchups. And it's just a really good all-round list. There aren't really any great solutions into the Death Star. Even Cafe doesn't do great into it, I'd say. This was actually sort of our main defender, weirdly enough, because it didn't feel like it had really poor matchups. It's also maybe part of it that Marijn is just a really good player, so he felt like he could basically take everything. Felt like maybe we could have gotten some equity there as well, a little bit more, because he got a lot of like drawy kind of matchups. But maybe if we knew a little bit better what his actual real good matchups are, it would have been great. We kind of felt like Beastmen were kind of like sleeper OP. Didn't see a lot of other teams talking about it, but we felt it was really strong, really consistent, and it had one of the best Death Stars in the game. If those Wargors sort of start rolling, they go really hard. The Hearthstone, of course, is really good. You can like get +3, +4 to cast in the list with lore familiars and like the coven stuff if you really need it. So it's an all-around really good MSU list. That doesn't really want to go first either. You can just plop down a bunch of Razor Gores, let your opponent go first, and then when they moved a little bit, just go forward. Really strong list. Then our Warriors of Chaos. No dragon. We were pretty adamant on not taking a dragon into Warriors of Chaos, and the main reason for that is that if you take dragons, your core becomes really bad, because you kind of want to take Chaos Knights, probably at least one unit to fill your core. I see a lot of like the double dragon list also running Chaos Knights. But in this list, like we have the Chaos Lord with the Bark of Nurgle, Ogre Blade, Favorable Luxstone, an extra arm. He starts rolling on the thing. He got like 7 or 8 attacks, Strength 7, Web Skill 7, Ogre Blade, just smashing you completely to pieces with a 2-up save. 5 aboard with 4 wounds. It's actually kind of tough. With the Mark of Nurgle, you also need 6s to re-roll him. I was actually talking with Jan, who played this list after the tournament, that he said, like, well, um, like everything that might wanted to kill him, like just didn't go anywhere. Just like anything that might even like giving him a fair fight would just run away because it's just so fast and just this thing like one shots a dragon, like no questions asked. And with the 8 Chaos Knights around him, they, sort of your cortex becomes useful because they're guys that score that are also defending your Chaos Lord when he's going forward. While if you just take the dragon, he's just taking everything immediately on his own chin, while your knights are like standing at the back, kind of being like, well, we're helping. Well, they're not really doing that. I feel that's a good combination, and of course, the Sorcerer Lord. With demonology, like demonic vessel and stuff like that, gives the boss even more power. That also goes on the Chaos Lord to even make him more like sort of uh, up to 11. It feels really good. The problem with the big Chaos Lord as well is, of course, that you cannot take any magical gear for him because like base is like 490 points or something. And if you take an Exalted Champion, he's toughness 5, which is a really big deal. For example, when you're being shot by Ushabti, running on 3s or 4s, there's just a very big difference between toughness 5 and 6. Don't really think I have to explain that to you. So yeah, combined with making your core a lot stronger if you do it like this, it feels really good. He fills it out with like 15 Chaos Warriors. Demonology guy, what he often did is like he angled the Chaos Warriors, I believe, in a way that the Chaos Knights in a way towards the Chaos Warriors to give them like the fly move turn 1, chuck them in there, aggroing along with other people, and then just shoving the Chaos Knights, the spawns, the ogres, just everything in your face, and just start smashing. And also to have a few more wounds in your army, so stuff like Ushabti is a little bit worse against you. And Jan did pretty well at the event and just smashed faces of a lot of people. Then another edition, Calvin. I believe maybe double prints would have been better. I maybe think he was. I actually tried to told him off the rings in the silver helms to give them magical attacks, but I think at the end of the day it would have been good against like vampire counts. It would have given him a lot of extra magical attacks to deal with them. It is pretty simple. Just an aggressive list, just in your face with the sisters as backup shooting. This, for example, would work pretty decently into Mortuary Cult or something like Null, just because you have enough threats flying at them that hopefully just kill them before you're alive. It should work, and it did work pretty well like that. But I felt like, as I said before, double print's probably better, just because the damage of the gun on top is pretty nice. And we probably should have gotten the second Opal Amulet in there as well somewhere, because like two ups is just, it's really nice to be protected, against Monster Slayer. So small things that could have been better, but Calvin definitely did a really good job. Then our other gun line, as I said before, I believe we're the only one who brought General Hans from Lowenhacke. It's very expensive at 190 points, but he gives you always that +1 on choosing who to go first in this rule pack, which is really strong. And this and Mortuary Cult's kind of actually a pin. So for example, if there were gun lines like dwarves, I believe both our gun lines had a great matchup into that. Or I think our Empire list also really beats the other Empire lists, because we also built it to have low drops, only 5. Most lists had more. So if you have the +2 to go first, you're really high chance of actually going first. So that made it so it's actually pretty likely that you that you get the first shot and go first with your outriders, like your vanguard move, go first with your gun limbers. And the idea is just if you hit them first, hit them hard, you win. And a lot of people actually tried it, and funnily enough, like a lot of like the times in the event. Remy shot his cannon into other cannons. They only, of course, did 2 wounds, and then he shot back, and then hit all his cannons were dead. So he got we got the matchup we wanted. The plan was executed. We shot their cannons, but then we rolled shitty, and then we still didn't get great results in this matchup. Like he still won, but it's not as great as it could have been. But that's the plan, and I think it worked. It worked pretty well. I think it's a strong list, and I think Hans is definitely worth it. So I'm glad that even though we're the only one who brought it, we were happy with it. And of course, for the last cafe, I talked a lot about this list. Triple cannon, double character balloon. We believed going hard in the balloons was a good thing. A lot of people actually skimmed on the protection on the balloons. I think there are actually ways to kill them still. So it's still, they're only T5. I mean, I said before, T5, T6, big difference. I felt like going hard on the defense is probably a good idea. 2 Shugengens to block and also to hunt, like war machines and stuff. While other balloons just throw everything into disarray. And you have some lancers running around supporting the Jade Warriors to stop with the Act of Heavenly Fury to stop some flying. Actually, for example, very important in like the Copter matchup or even in the Cafe Mirror. I think basically 2 character balloons, triple cannon, 2 Jade Lancers, and then Jade Warriors to fill out your core, and also to have 3 units is a big thing. You actually need 3 units as a thing. Is a great setup, and it's just really hard to beat. The balloons are just impossible to catch. They shoot really hard, and unless you shoot harder than it, which are not a lot of things in the game that do that. Actually, nothing shoots harder in the game than them. I'd say you're in a lot of trouble. So that's like the quick overview of our armies and what I thought about them. To give you an idea of our scratch sheets, blight lights, sorry. What we basically do is we ask our players at the beginning of each round to put in a prediction that they had against each player. So these are our players, and these are what we think our opponents does. And basically, we say what they think they're gonna make for a round, and using this information, I try to get good matchups for them and try to eliminate the things that have a lot of reds here. For example, in this matchup, the Tomb Kings, like Empire and Tomb Kings had really bad matchups into it. That's, for example, if they wanted to give us that, we actually try to put it in there, and I actually defended first. They actually defended first with their Tomb Kings, which I'm kind of grateful of, and we were able to neutralize that matchup. We actually won this matchup by my win, I'd say. Barely got a win in. I was extremely lucky against Vampire Counts. I think I've never been as lucky in the event. Basically, what happened in turn 1, I've played against Vampire Counts with like 2 Terrorgeist and a Mortis Engine. What happened was that my opponent like ran his Mortis Engine in terrain after it got some chip damage. It like already had 1 wound from the first turn. Second turn, it drove it through, and it rolled a 1 for dangerous terrain, D3 wounds because it's chariot, got 3 wounds, filled all its regen, so suddenly it was only on 4 wounds left, and he had no possibility to heal it anymore because it had in the movement phase, on the command phase. So with his reserve move, he like put his Terrorgeist in front of his Mortis Engine, hoping to heal it in the coming turns, and like try to make it the 10-10 it's supposed to be. And I actually like maneuvered in a way that made it so 7 of my Boshapti could shoot the 4 wound Mortis Engine, while like 9 Boshapti and my casket could shoot the Terrorgeist to get rid of them. And like my casket like cast on the Terrorgeist that was blocking my 7 Boshapti, it filled a leadership chest twice, like when rolling a 9 twice, so I needed an 8. Got Light of Death. Of course, it exploded, like this D6 plus 3, strength 6 hits, no regen, no armor save, so that thing was very dead. Then my 7 Boshapti promptly shot the Mortis engine to death, and then I had like 9 Boshapti not doing anything, and they promptly shot the other Terrorgeist to death. So in one turn, I killed 2 Terrorgeists and the Mortis engine, which is absolutely ridiculous. It should never happen. But I was very happy it happened in like the first turn, first round of WTC against a very strong opponent. Can tell you that. And then, of course, his entire army began crumbling. His Banshees died, like his Felbats died. And I was just able to just run in and just smash him and get a 19 and get like a massive win. And we actually needed it because if that matchup should have gone what it went, they actually would have gone away with the win because our Beastman and our High Elf player got smashed by. I know High Elves had to play against Luna Valentine, which is a very good player, of course. So that yeah, it was really, really great lucky break. I was really happy about it, and it's what won us around, which is really nice. What I always do to say a little bit more about a prediction sheet is to put the mission in there as well and the schedule, because your players will ask about the schedule all the time, and you hope they have their predictions open so you can tell them when everything is. When is lunch? It's in the thing. When is the next round? It's in the thing. It's great. Another kind of interesting thing is that we felt that Bretonia was like a trap for the vampire accounts because it had a lot of VC tech, so we really wanted to get them out of there. So I sometimes like make these little notes for myself in the pairing matrix to put it like that. This is what we predicted for each player, and this is what they actually got to give you a little bit of an idea what we did. The second round was against Ukraine. We kind of smashed them. Honestly, only a vampire accounts player got made a mistake and got smashed in return, but pretty doable round. We got the matchup we wanted. This was one of my demons matchups, so you saw that I went really hard in it. So we were really happy with this round. Basically, our plans of like getting our Tomb Kings Empire and Cafe into good matchups, especially Cafe in good matchup, and the rest just sort of holding the fort, worked out really well, and we won. Third round was against a very strong player, Italy. I was really high with 2 19-pointers, and I got paired into Orcs and Goblins. I feel like I kind of got trapped. I didn't really see how the Doom Divers would really make it. My Leech Priest needed to stay inside units. It was really annoying. My opponent did really well, so I couldn't get Urban Ramparts in the units that needed it. So 2 Wyverns could just swoop down and attack me there. One of the Wyverns also survived like on 1 wound for the entire game, which was very annoying. And I think my opponent's list was just very strong. I kind of underestimated it. He had 0 magic, so I felt like, oh well, it's nice. I can just get all my spells through and be nice. But I couldn't really get the spells I needed because my Wizards need to be inside units, so they couldn't see the stuff they needed. Those being my Ushapti, and if they go outside the units, probably the Doom Divers kill them. So it's not great. So I had like 3 magic, but my mages didn't really have anything to cast on. So it's not great, and dice didn't really go greatly in my favor. I had the +1 to go first, but he went first, which I really don't want because I love to shoot those wyverns because they come at me. I felt like a 14 was too aggressive. I think it should have been a 9 or an 8, but if I go first, as should happen in the matchup, and I just roll a little bit better, and maybe not underestimate the Doom Divers, and like get them with my Doom Swarms. That was also the thing, like because he went first, my Scorpion like came later, so would come later. So yeah, it's just very annoying, very bad. Our VC player also made some mistakes again. So this was our biggest loss. Italy was really good team. They came in third in the event, and I think deservedly so. They were very strong. Round 4 was against Sweden. We once again protected our cafe and got them into a great matchup, and we hope that the rest held the fort. VC player this time really went off. I don't really know how he did this. It was like a vampire account mirror or something. Still, he briefly said something about it. He said the other vampire account player was trying to play very aggressive, and he punished that in some way. I thought it was a crazy result to get in a vampire account mirror like 19. yeah, I think we can be very happy about this one again. Cafe got paired into Bretonia, which is or Vampire High Elf Rams, I'm not quite sure anymore, but a great matchup, and was able to swing for the fences again, as you can see. At this moment, spirit were high. If we would beat our final opponent, Germany, we would have maybe some chance for the podium. But sadly, the Germans also came to play. I got paired in the Demons and like smashed them. But we really had to throw multiple people under the bus for these good matchups. Basically, Bretonia had to fight Cafe, which is horrible as you can see. But we basically got this one to get our Cafe into something good. But you see, it didn't quite add up because well, 1 is worse than a 15 is. And the Tomb King wanted to. We sacrificed our Empire. We predicted a 1 and got a 5, which is actually pretty good. So this kind of evened out. Worst Chaos did well, but sadly, like the High Elves had to play against Gaunterder, Andreas from Germany, a great Beastman player, very strong player, and he was just maybe a little bit of a big of an experience gap over there. So that wasn't great. Give you a little bit more of an overview of the things we predicted and we actually got in the rounds. I mean, it's interesting data, but I do not think you play enough rounds to actually say something seriously interesting about the delta. But it maybe gives a nice overview of what we did, what everybody had to play. Vampire Counts versus Vampire Counts. You get 19 points. I don't know how this guy does it. It's absolutely fantastic. So here in a quick overview, you can see what all our rounds were and how everything did. I just wanted to say that WTC was a great event. I really enjoyed it. I hope to participate next year again as well. Don't know if I'm going to be captain again. It's a lot of work, even though it's a lot of fun. And I hope that these insights gave you a little bit more of a perspective of what our strategies were going into the event. Do let me know if you have any questions or you want any of the players to say anything about it, because we definitely can reach out. Thanks everyone for watching, and maybe see you again next time.